wish I were drinking out of our new Focky mugs that we're going to have on our store.
Well, they have to be printed.
Like our t-shirts. Okay, but they're coming, so tune in and watch for our new products.
Hi, everybody.
Radiate light, laughter, and love. Oh, hi.
Shall we start?
Okay, I think we have.
Welcome to episode 26.
26, okay.
That's halfway through.
6 and 6 are 2. Never mind.
2 weeks. That's not halfway through. We're halfway. We're up to chapter 20. We're gonna do.
Don't do math on this. Let's just move.
Okay, we're gonna do. We're gonna go back to chapter 20 this week because it's Cat's Cradle, and there was a lot of stuff in there that.
Right, and we only tackled some of it last week, so
right.
There's more to do today.
Right.
That's easy.
Yep. So this one's actually named for a dear friend of ours, Cat.
Cat, strangely enough.
Right.
I know.
And she is properly named in the book, as is her real life. She's not under a pseudonym. And Cat's an amazing one, but I read that. So why don't I start?
Read to us.
Okay. Our dear friend Cat couldn't take my news over the phone. She's begged to come up and wrap her arms around me so she can wrap her head around what we're going through.
From San Diego.
They're already at our favorite sushi bar, Marcy, Cat, and my brother-in-law Mackie, and at this rate, I'll be there before dessert. Cat is one of my mostest favoriteest people in the world. She's, where to start? A biologist, a massage therapist, the best ever. She's a yoga instructor, a legal mediator. She's a grandmother, a mother, and a friend. One of them there underachievers, if ever there was one.
Yeah.
She's also got a laugh, rather a cackle, that can break glass, and it comes at the drop of a hat, just like her. When my love went through chemo the first time, there was only a handful of women I would allow to support her, including Cat, who was also SCO dead. There were 3 angels who would come and stay with us after each chemo session and deliver what my love needed, healing and sisterhood. This was not well-intentioned giving. I needed the women my love loved most, who would know how she wanted to be cared for, to be there for her. There were many who gave lovingly, don't get me wrong, but some people do healing better than others, and I wanted the archangels.
Mm-hmm.
Of the 3 angels, Cat came most often. She has always treated our marriage with as much reverence as my love and I, and credits us and our marriage with restoring her faith in love. So you can see why Cat is having the hardest time. And I guess if I squint, I can see why. Just like my sisters, she put me up on a very high pedestal. And like my sisters, Cat held out for her perfect love because she saw it work for my love and me. And if I was a woman, well, really, what did it mean to our marriage?
Well, I think that's definitely a theme we've seen. It reminds me of Sally Joy and how she felt, and how in order for her to really wrap her arms around your change, she needed to actually paint a picture.
Cover the book.
Yeah, a beautiful painting of you. So...
I've never had my portrait painted before.
Yeah. So it really speaks to how the in-person thing is so important, and really being able to touch you and see you and hear you, and people have known you for such a long time another way. So it makes sense. I mean, how are you gonna?
Yeah, I mean, one an odd side effect from that is kind of confirmation that even though I was going through something unbelievably hard, I was still a good person, I guess, and I still
Yeah, because I think there's an element of that people were afraid to lose you,
Mm-hmm.
as was I, because it's really hard to see the answers to the question of what is this going to mean? How are you going to change? And then, therefore, how will my relating to you change? So, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, we always get into the danger zone whenever we try to generalize, especially in the trans community. But
Mm-hmm.
One thing that is kind of a common thread, and what we sometimes are frustrated by is, we only change the outer wrapping to match what was inside. Now, granted, there's some behavioral things that do change that I wanted to change. I had adopted a lot of, it's almost like an alien learning another culture, uh, things and ways of being and ways of thinking that were kind of my survival mechanisms. But, you know, how I, why I loved didn't change, or who I am didn't change. But you're right, it took Kat having to actually physically be in my presence because, again, as we've talked about a million times before, I was no longer an abstract. I was real.
Well, and speaking of the abstract, as much as this may be a subject that's now definitely been very frequently touched on, spoken about, covered in the media, people still don't understand it.
No.
That's the thing. So
I understand the People magazine definition.
Well, and even if you understand the definition, it doesn't really answer those questions, and hopefully questions we can help answer for people. That I think fear often, I won't quite use the word always, but really does come down to the unknown, and if you don't know something, you can fear it. So by not really knowing, by not really getting, by not really fully grokking something, it's easy to be afraid. And again, it's easy to be afraid of, well, how far is this going to go? And what am I going to do if it goes to a point that I feel like I can't handle? And the I here means anybody, friend, family, me.
Well, I think that's always that's true on both sides of the equation. I think, some people say, well, why do you care what other people think? It's like, because you are my family, you are my life, especially as a woman. My relationships with everybody has always been sacred to me. Nobody really fully understood what that oxygen of love, how it gave me a breath as I was trying to keep my head above the water, So it does matter. It matters. It matters that people love you. It matters that people like you, even. It matters.
Especially if that could turn around into suddenly not loving you anymore or discriminating against you.
It's odd
it's
that
the same you.
Yeah, it's odd that the discrimination part is a big thing, but it's almost, since that's like blunt force trauma that's easy to deal with. You just kind of like, I think the things.
It's also political, which is sad.
Well, that's horrifying too. It's bizarre that that we're the whipping children, we're the whipping girls and boys of the new world. It's bizarre, but it's the subtle connections though that I was most afraid of losing. Kat and I always had a great wavelength that was sacred. It was only hers, and I didn't want to lose that. I've talked about this in various levels. I don't think I've ever used that metaphor before, but that's really what I didn't want to lose. And I didn't want people to be too busy going, whoa, you're changing so much. I'm like, the inside's not changing.
How do you feel about the wavelength with her now?
Amazing. Well, oddly enough, and this is what I prayed for, especially with women, is that they would go, oh my God, yeah, oh my God, well, come on in, little sister. And she has totally adopted me on that wavelength and shares things with me that are richer and deeper and sweeter. And that's true with a lot of women friends that we have, And that's what I really craved.
Yeah.
Because I was always looking on the outside looking in before.
Well, you've kind of given me a different understanding of the word sisterhood because of that. I just thought I had friends, but there is something to woman friendships that has its own, I won't say different or better, though I would say has its own wavelength and cherishability.
Well, it always breaks my heart when I meet, at the memorial service that we went to, there was lots of people from my hometown, and some of the women had read my book. And one woman in particular, hi, Katie. Katie's lovely family, and her mother and her older sister, Karen, I always looked up to. And I couldn't, they were just amazing women, and they really cared for my mom. Mrs. McGovern Sylvia was really a good friend of my mom, and so it was really sacred. Katie shared a couple things, though, that broke my heart. She said, she brought up your mom's phrase, ain't bitches women, that she has always been frustrated and angry that when women are all together and there's men around, that the women take each other down instead of try to help each other out. And that's bizarre. How about that article that we saw about the women in the Obama administration who started amplification?
Right. Teaming
together, which is what you would expect. This is what the boys are afraid we're going to do. That's
a big point that's been made lately. They were just talking about it today on something else, that it's women can really support women and acknowledge women and help you rise up instead of feeling competitive and trying to take you down. But I think we're getting off the cat thing. So, I think a lot of it just does. It's as simple as being in person with someone.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's why I called it Cat's Cradle. It was cradled by her love and her sisterhood and her acceptance, and it wasn't there at first. The first I was surprised by her reaction. It caught me off guard, and she was like, please, but okay. So here's what I want people to know about. Kat ran up against that wall of her own feelings and her own frustration and confusion, but instead of going, oh, and turning away, she went, what is this? How do I fix it? Can I come up and see you guys? Can I come up and stay with you and see with you and hug you and be with you? And we're like, oh my God, make the effort. Yes. She's so, that's what I want everybody to hear. She makes the effort. She doesn't allow anything like that to float around in her life without being fixed.
Yeah, well, that's how she is. She's a great example of introspection and going for it, tearing down walls. So, thank you, Kat, for being such a great example and ally and friend and sister and honey and dear, dear part of our life.
Yeah, I wish for everybody to have a Gerhardt in their life. I wish for everybody to have a cat.
Yeah, we have very dear, wonderful, supportive friends.
So blessed.
That's the key.
Yeah.
Stay with the website because we're going to be updating you on some things. Just next week, we'll be at Cal State Channel Islands with the psychology classes there. We're working still on our workshop with a couple therapists to put together a workshop for therapists.
Northridge. We're working with Cal State Northridge.
Oh, yeah. For
Gender Studies Department to
creating
curriculum
for schools.
Get us so
all
academic.
Levels. And of course,
our
products.
Hey, what a nice shirt. Where did you get that?
Oh, do you like this?
I do.
There's also a racerback, and there's T-shirts for men, too. And
And we should clarify that just because they're blue doesn't mean they're only for boys. So if you want those,
if you want the blue one,
you want a blue color, just let us know in the
you
notes
like the
when you're
style
ordering.
better, right?
They're not
Yes,
bad.
and there are sizes.
They're kind of butch looking.
Available.
But, some people like them.
Stop. God.
And Flocky mugs.
Can you take that back?
No.
Okay. And Flocky mugs, which we'll be able to show you once we have a sample. But you can be ordering them now. And thanks to niece Sophie for being the very first in for the very first order.
Way to go.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. First orders are going out. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's exciting. Just in time for Christmas.
That's a good idea.
Do you know there's only 14 Mondays until Christmas?
Well, in your book, too.
Okay.
It's a good Christmas
Oh,
present.
yeah. Hey, buy my book.
Hey, book. Yeah.
That's the whole reason why we do these, right?
Well, not the whole reason.
Well, that's true. We want to hear your side of it.
And yes, I'm working on my book.
Close. She's close.
I
She's
have the first draft, but I've got 29 chapters, and I'm probably at least, I guess 6/8 would be 3/4. It doesn't sound the same. I'm 6/8. It's closer than 3/4.
Yes.
Oh, could the mathematicians please help us out here?
Yeah, but anyways, I'm so proud of you.
Thank
you really are staying on it. It's awesome.
Coming along.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Some parts are horrifying, but
Tough. Your turn.
My turn.
Turnabout is fair play. That was another thing my mother used to say.
Oh, your mother had lots of bon mots.
She did. Boy.
Yep. And we're pretty close on...
Bon mot. Not bon mots. If you're going to use French, pronounce it right.
Yeah, but some people don't speak French, so they have to know.
Well, then don't use it.
I didn't realize there were rules.
You
Do not know my language.
With me?
And we're really close to having the audiobook.
Right.
Yeah, we're done editing it. We're just going over the last couple of final mix, and it'll be ready. Hesitate to
soon.
It'll be ready for the Christmas buying season. Yeah.
Right.
Of course, we'll let you know.
Alrighty then.
Yep.
Yay.
Wow. Well, thank you.
Yeah, as always, we love to have you with us. We keep hearing from people who apparently are actually watching this. And
I know, it's crazy.
We think, oh, well, there's only 1 or 2 people out there, and there's like hundreds of likes or comments. It's like, oh, well, good. Then you're stuck with us. We're going to keep it up.
That's right. And don't forget to radiate light
laughter, and love.
You know, the world, the world really needs it.
Especially now.
That was good. You exercised such great restraint.
I did, because
Stop. You're good. Hold on. Hold that thought. We'll see you next week.